In the heart of Iceland, a land of fire and ice where the winds howl and the seas rage, a boy named Egil was born. From a young age, he possessed a fierce spirit and a sharp tongue, his temper as volatile as the volcanic landscape that surrounded him. His father, Skallagrim, a warrior of renown, recognized his son's potential but worried about his unruly nature. "You have the makings of a great warrior, Egil," Skallagrim would rumble. "But your temper is a wildfire. Learn to control it or it will consume you." But Egil's spirit chafed against restraint. He excelled in the arts of poetry and storytelling, his words sharp as any blade. Yet his quick wit often turned to biting sarcasm, earning him as many enemies as admirers. In the grand hall of Skallagrim, where mead flowed and tales were spun, Egil's talent shone brightly. But his pride was a fragile thing, easily bruised by the barbs of his rivals. Berg-Onund, a chieftain with a grudge against Skallagrim, took delight in provoking the young poet. "What verses has the little skald composed today?" he would sneer. "A lullaby for his pet sheep?" Egil's eyes would narrow, his hand instinctively reaching for the hilt of his dagger. "I have words that could wither your courage, Berg-Onund," he would hiss, "if I deemed you worthy of them." Skallagrim, ever watchful, would intervene, his voice booming above the din. "Peace, Egil. Your tongue is a weapon, but use it wisely, lest it cut you as deeply as your foes." Eager for adventure and driven by a thirst for glory, Egil embarked on his first Viking voyage to Norway. There, he encountered a group of berserkers, fierce warriors known for their frenzied battle rage. Egil, undaunted, joined their ranks, his own fury matching theirs. In the heat of battle, he proved his mettle, his sword singing a deadly song. As Egil matured, his warrior skills blossomed alongside his poetic gifts. He joined his older brother Thorolf on Viking raids, their bond forged in the heat of battle. Thorolf, the calm and collected strategist, complemented Egil's berserker fury. Together they were a formidable force, their names whispered with awe and fear. But fate, fickle and cruel, had other plans. During a raid on the coast of Norway, Thorolf fell in battle, his lifeblood staining the icy ground. Egil, consumed by grief and rage, slaughtered his brother's killers, his sword singing a mournful dirge. The loss of his beloved brother Bodvar, in a subsequent raid, deepened Egil's sorrow and hardened his resolve for vengeance. He poured his grief into a poignant lament, his words capturing the essence of their bond and the pain of his loss. Returning to Iceland, Egil found himself entangled in a web of blood feuds. His vengeance for Thorolf ignited a chain of retaliatory killings, each act fueling the fires of hatred. Skallagrim, burdened by his son's actions, sought to temper Egil's wrath. "Vengeance is a bottomless pit, my son," he warned. "It will swallow you whole if you let it." But Egil's heart was hardened by loss. "Blood demands blood," he declared, his voice thick with sorrow and resolve. "I will not rest until Thorolf's death is avenged." Egil's relentless pursuit of vengeance led him to the court of King Eric Bloodaxe in Norway. There, he clashed with the king's treacherous advisors, his sharp tongue earning him both enemies and grudging respect. When Egil was falsely accused of treason, he stood before the king and his court, his voice ringing with righteous indignation. With his knowledge of the law and his unwavering determination, he dismantled the accusations against him, leaving his enemies speechless and the king impressed. In a feat of daring, Egil escaped the king's clutches, his ship slicing through the waves like a vengeful spirit. But his defiance came at a cost: exile from Norway, a price he paid willingly for his freedom. During his escape, Egil encountered Gunhild, the vengeful queen of Norway. She cursed him with perpetual bad luck, a chilling reminder of the perils of crossing paths with those in power. Cast adrift on the tides of fate, Egil sought refuge in England, his ship a lonely speck on the vast expanse of the North Sea. There, he encountered a kindred spirit in the form of Athelstan, the Saxon king. Recognizing Egil's talents, Athelstan welcomed him into his court, offering him a chance to rebuild his life. Egil, weary of bloodshed, embraced this opportunity. He composed stirring poems in praise of Athelstan, his words weaving tapestries of valor and loyalty. His verses echoed through the halls of the Saxon court, earning him fame and favor. But even in exile, the specter of the past haunted Egil. News reached him of his father's death, Skallagrim succumbing to old age and grief. The weight of his loss pressed heavily upon Egil's heart, rekindling his yearning for Iceland, his homeland. With Athelstan's blessing, Egil set sail for Iceland, his heart heavy with both sorrow and hope. As his ship neared the familiar shores, a sense of peace washed over him. He had returned, not as a vengeful warrior, but as a poet, his weapon now his words. Upon his return, Egil was reunited with his mother Asgerd and his remaining family. They mourned the loss of Skallagrim together, their shared grief strengthening their bond. In Iceland, Egil faced new challenges. His enemies, emboldened by his long absence, sought to seize his lands and wealth. But Egil, tempered by exile and loss, met their challenges with cunning and resolve. He used his legal acumen to defend his rights, his verses becoming weapons in the court of law. His most formidable adversary was his own kinsman Arnbjorn, a man driven by envy and greed. Their feud escalated, culminating in a dramatic confrontation at the Althing, the Icelandic parliament. Egil, his voice ringing with righteous anger, recited a powerful poem exposing Arnbjorn's treachery. The crowd, swayed by Egil's eloquence, rallied to his side. Arnbjorn, defeated and humiliated, slunk away, his schemes in ruins. In the twilight of his life, Egil found solace in his farm at Borg, surrounded by his family and the rugged beauty of Iceland. His once fiery spirit mellowed, replaced by a quiet wisdom. He continued to compose poetry, his verses now reflecting on the passage of time, the bitter sweetness of memory, and the enduring power of love. His most poignant work, Sonatorek, a lament for his lost sons, stands as a testament to his profound grief and resilience. As Egil's strength waned, he made a final journey to the hot springs at Mosfellsberg. There, he entrusted his most treasured possession, a chest filled with silver, to his faithful daughter, Thorgerd. His instructions were clear. The silver was to be used to reconcile his family with their old enemies, the descendants of Berg-Onund. Thorgerd, honoring her father's wishes, traveled to Norway, where she met with Berg-Onund's grandson. With wisdom and grace, she offered the silver as a gesture of peace, her words echoing Egil's own plea for reconciliation. The grandson, moved by Thorgerd's sincerity, accepted the silver. The feud, which had spanned generations, finally came to an end, its embers extinguished by the healing power of forgiveness. Egil, his life's journey nearing its end, lay on his deathbed. His mind drifted back to the triumphs and tragedies of his past, the battles fought, the verses composed, the loves lost and found. As his breath grew shallow, he reflected on his life's journey, expressing both regrets and satisfaction. He recited a final verse, encapsulating his wisdom and acceptance of his fate. His words, carried on the wind, echoed across the Icelandic landscape, a testament to a life lived with passion, courage, and unwavering spirit. Egil's saga, passed down through generations, immortalized his legacy. His verses, etched in the collective memory of Iceland, continue to inspire and resonate. His story, a tapestry of human experience, reminds us that even in the harshest of landscapes, the human spirit can flourish, leaving an enduring mark on the world.